Aloha, everybody. It is I, the great Clement, and today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be talking about Soul Calibur 5. This is the fifth entry in the Soul Calibur series, and I actually really enjoy Soul Calibur 2. Soul Calibur 2 is my favorite fighting game ever. That is a game I still come back to every now and then. I still enjoy playing it. I particularly have the GameCube version, and playing as Link is fun. And that had a whole bunch of bonus modes, like Weapon Master mode, and it has 8-man tag battles and stuff, and that's what always made it stand out compared to the other games for me. My friends and I love playing the 8-man tag battle, where, you know, you pick 8 fighters, your friend picks 8 fighters, and then you all battle until there is one. It's so much different from having a one-on-one fight, because 8-man... well, that's, you know, it's constantly changing how the battle's going to go when you put them in different orders, and you see how, like... well, let's see how my Raphael does against your Talum, you know? And I really wish they would bring that mode back. 3 didn't, 4 didn't, 5 didn't. Ugh. But, you know. Anyway, all I'm saying is that I love the Soul Calibur series. I own 2, I own 3, I also own 4. And when I rented number 5, I was just, you know, testing the waters to see if 5 was going to be better than 4. I didn't buy it immediately because, you know, I own 4 so that I would have a fighter that I really enjoyed on the Xbox 360. And for the most part, 4 was good. It was a little bit of a step down from 3, but I still thought 4 was enjoyable. And then I rented 5 to see, like, hey, maybe this will be better than 4. Maybe I should buy number 5. Nope! Number 5, ladies and gentlemen, is easily the worst in the whole entire series, and it does so many things wrong, and I can't even count the ways. And I would recommend, you know, if you want a Soul Calibur game, guys, 2, 3, or 4. Honestly, don't go for 5. This one is totally not worth your time or your money. The core of Soul Calibur 5 isn't really that drastically different from the previous games. You know, like, when I take control of Nightmare, my favorite character to play in these games, I could still pretty much do the same kind of combos I've been doing since Soul Calibur 3, you know? The core gameplay's still there. It's still fun. I mean, you still block people's attacks. You still have your vertical swings and your horizontal swings and your kicks, and you can grab enemies and you can ring them out. You don't have to always, you know, knock them out, like drain their health bar. You can actually try and manipulate them so that you can fly them off the edge and knock them out that way. You know, it's still Soul Calibur at heart, but I can't recommend Soul Calibur 5 because it's missing so many of the key features that made it stand out from other fighting games, you know? I mean, this whole review is just going to be me listing off what isn't in 5 and what is in the other Soul Calibur games, and that's why it's inferior. It's not that Soul Calibur 5 is a terrible game, mind you. It's still playable, and if you play it with friends, you're probably going to have a fun time. I just don't think it makes for a good sequel. You know, when you go from Soul Calibur 2 to Soul Calibur 5, I kind of expect that Soul Calibur 5 will have more features than 2, which is not the case. It has less features than 2. It has less than 3 or 4, and it's totally not worth it. Okay, so first off, you know, they don't have any bonus modes at all. You know, you have arcade mode, and you have story mode, and online play, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a little training area where you can fight like a dummy, but that should be expected in a fighting game, honestly. There's no survival mode where, you know, you last until you die to see how many people you can take out. There's no time attack mode. Well, that's pretty much the same as arcade, but, you know, arcade might as well have been time attack. It shouldn't even have been called arcade, but I'll get to that. The big focus point of Soul Calibur 5 this time around is the story mode, and, you know, every Soul Calibur has had their focus. You know, Soul Calibur 2 had Weapons Master mode, which was a whole series of matches with their own little gimmicks, and there was a whole bunch of them. There was, like, maybe 100 or so missions, and you beat those missions to unlock gold, which allowed you to buy new weapons for your fighters and whatnot, and that made the whole experience really enjoyable. It wasn't frustrating to play at all. It was just a nice way of giving you these challenges without making anything, you know, tedious or repetitive. Soul Calibur 3 had, like, Chronicles of the Sword mode, which was like this real-time strategy thing. I didn't like it personally just because of the load times. The load times were so bad that it was actually a chore to sit through sometimes, but it was okay. I didn't really care for it. Plus the AI in Soul Calibur 3 was pretty ridiculous. It was never easy in Soul Calibur 3. And Soul Calibur 4 had the Tower of Souls mode, which again, like Weapon Master, like Chronicles of the Sword, It was just a series of different challenges that you did to unlock new things, and this has been a constant in the Soul Calibur series. So what does story mode in Soul Calibur 5 give you? It gives you 20 matches, and then that's it. Yes, it tells the story of these two new characters, Patroclus and Pyrrha, who are the children of Sophitia, who is not in this game, by the way. And their whole struggle with Soul Calibur and Soul Edge and all that bullshit. But you only play as Patroclus and Pyrrha, and maybe once or twice you'll play as this new guy named Zwei. Anywho, you only play those characters for 20 matches, and then it ends. And then you have no reason to play story mode ever again, unless you want to rewatch the cutscenes. That's it. I mean, like, Weapon Master mode had tons of replayability because it went on so long. It wasn't 20 matches, it was a whole shitload of them. Tower of Soul, same thing. Chronicles of the Sword, same thing. I beat story mode in 2 hours, and I kid you not, you know. It wasn't hard because the AI wasn't that bad, and I pretty much one-shotted every match I could. Even the final boss of story mode wasn't a hassle at all. I beat them, and I was just like, wait, the credits are rolling? That's it? 20 matches? Really? Okay. The story mode's not even that engaging because, like, most of the cutscenes, not all, but most of the cutscenes are done Sonic and the Secret Ring style, where they give you a yellow paper and the illustrations on screen, and then there's text in the bottom with voiceovers going like, oh la 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 la, and it's just like still frames, still pictures of this yellow paper, black illustration stuff. And that's so not interesting. I didn't like it in Sonic and the Secret Rings, I don't like it here. They do have occasional CG cutscenes, but they're the only CG cutscenes in the game, and they're still not impressive at all. There's nothing like, oh wow, Nightmare did something cool, you know, it's just like, ugh. I always loved in Soul Calibur 2 and 3 when you beat the game, or not when you beat the game, but when you opened the game, and they always had that fucking fantastic CG intro. 4 didn't have that, and 5 doesn't either, and that sucks. What story mode really fails at is it doesn't explain anything about the new characters that are in the game, because this game is now takes place 17 years after Soul Calibur 4. And that means they've actually omitted quite a few of the characters that you're familiar with and replaced them with these new, younger characters, and you're gonna have to get used to that. You know, Xianghua, she's not in the game. Taki, she's not in the game. Cassandra, Sophitia, these characters are no longer in Soul Calibur, and so now you have to get used to all these new characters, and you have to discover, like, which ones are using the fighting style that you're used to, you know? So if you're a Keelik user, and you're trying to be the bow staff character, you're looking for Keelik, but Keelik's not in the game now, so now you have to be Zaiba. And if you're a Xianghua player, now you have to be Leisha, because Xianghua's not in the game anymore. So it's like the fighting styles are still there, but now they're under like all these different character names, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. So you have all these new characters who were never talked about in the main story mode, and then you think, okay, well, I'm just going to go into their character profiles and I'll read up on their backstory there. They've removed extra stuff. They don't have concept art, they don't have character profiles, they don't have the exhibition theaters that all the old Soul Calibur games had, so you have no idea to learn about the backstory of a character or what's up with these new characters. So why did they bother setting it 17 years in the future if they didn't want to tell a story? But then you're thinking, oh, but Clement, maybe you can learn all you need to know through the arcade mode. You'll go through the arcade mode, you'll see their intro and their ending, and then you'll know what the character is all about. Well, arcade mode does not have endings. It does not have intros or endings at all. This is 2012, guys! This is not an arcade title, this is on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3! How do you not have endings for the fucking characters? That should be like one of the big fucking reasons you want to play through arcade mode with every character. To see some cool fancy CG animation, to see something, you know, awesome like the Tekken series always delivers. The fact that there's no endings, there's no character profiles, there's no concept art, all that stuff, there's no survival mode, there's no nothing. All of this stuff is omitted, and it makes this such a lackluster, empty Soul Calibur experience that just gives off the impression that, okay, Namco wanted a quick buck, so they just re-released Soul Calibur for us, you know? Which is probably not the case, but hey, where'd all the other extra features go? And then we come to the biggest travesty of Soul Calibur 5, and what really sets it apart from the rest of the series, and what makes it so terrible, in my opinion. There are no unlockable weapons or armor at all. The game has a create a character feature, and you can create a character with all these different customization options. You can make them look however you want them to look. And hey, the more creative people can come up with really awesome character designs, and I've seen some on Xbox Live. So, you know, the create a character's good, but it's been in the series since Soul Calibur 3, so that's not a new thing, and I don't think that excuses Soul Calibur 5's suckiness, you know? All the new armor pieces that you can equip, even the regular characters, like you can even customize the costumes on Nightmare and whoever, they don't add any stat effects or any different parables like Soul Calibur 4 did. Variables, I mean. They don't add any different variables like Soul Calibur 4. And there's no buying of weapons, there's no experimenting with different armor or weapon types, so it's just a straight-up fighter now. They've simplified it so much that it's no longer Soul Calibur. What made Soul Calibur so engaging of a fighter was the single-player experience. How you could go through the bonus Weapon Master mode and find like 10 different weapons for a character, and they all had their own little stats, you know? Like one would break through blocking and damage people regardless. One would drain your health, but it would be really powerful. Or one would be really weak, but it would heal your character constantly through the battle. You know, all these different features, all these different things you could tweak to make the character the awesome fighter that you want to be. That's all gone. They've simplified it so much, and they've taken out survival mode and all the bonus modes and all the concept art and all the extra features, that it's not even a fucking Soul Calibur game. This is of less quality than Soul Calibur 1 on Xbox Live Arcade. There is less to do in this game than there is in Soul Calibur 1 for Xbox Live. That is fucking shameful. I mean, people who are going to get on my case about this are going to be like, Clement, the new characters justify the $60 price tag. The online play justifies the $60 price tag. And the creative character justifies the $60 price tag. No, it doesn't. I don't care about if they have a few new characters, you know? Okay, you know what? They have hardly any new characters. They have Zwei, this werewolf guy who can summon a werewolf to attack for him, and I don't know what his deal is, because there's no backstory. They have Viola, who uses a crystal ball to attack enemies with. I can't use her at all. I'm sure other people can, but I think she's not a great fighter. And I think she's also supposed to be like the character Amy from Soul Calibur 4 and 3. And then they have Ezio Auditore, because every Soul Calibur game has a guest character, and, you know, 2 had Link, Heihachi, Spawn, 4 had Darth Vader, Starkiller, Yoda, and 5 has Ezio Auditore from the Assassin's Creed series, and he's alright, he's fine. I have nothing against Ezio, but he won't be in the 6th game, he'll only be in this game, and so who cares, you know? And it's like, there's hardly any new characters. They've taken out some of the best characters that my friends love to play. My friend loves playing Talum. His favorite character is Talum, and he's going to be very disheartened to know that Talum, nor is a character replacing her in the game. Like, there's no person with the elbow blades who, you know, that's gone. There's no Zasalamel, there's no Yun Sun, there's no Rock. There's no characters even replacing those characters, so those fighting styles are gone. If you love Talum, if you love Zasalamel, sorry, better go get Soul Calibur 4 and below. And again, what justified the $60 price tag for me is all the extra features and all the things that make it better than the other Soul Calibur games. If Soul Calibur 5 is less than what was 4, you know, 4 had online play. In fact, 4 had 2 modes of online play. You could play in a regular, traditional, simple fighting way, like all Soul Calibur games gave you the option, where you could use, it didn't matter what armor you were wearing, it didn't change your stats at all, it was just a basic fighter. And then you could go into extra mode, which did keep in mind all your different weapons and all your different armor, and then it was a different kind of fight. So you had normal mode and you had extra mode in online play. By simplifying it for Soul Calibur 5, now you just have regular mode. There's no extra mode where weapons and armor change how the fight goes. So you have less modes, you know? The create a character has been in the series since 3. It's been in 3, it's been in 4. I don't give a shit if it's in 5 and people can come up with cool creation, ideas for 5. It was in the game, it was in the series already, and it doesn't cut it anymore. I mean, what does create a character amount to the single player? All you do is you create a character, and then you use whatever the established fighting styles are. It's not like they came up with unique fighting styles like they did in Soul Calibur 3. In Soul Calibur 3, when you created a character, they gave you a whole bunch of different fighting styles that didn't belong to established characters. You could be like this weird dancing guy. You could be like a samurai sword, a ninja type character, but they weren't like Mitsurugi or Taki. They were different. They had their own different movesets. And even when you played through Chronicles of the Sword mode, you can unlock all the different fighting styles that established characters used. So if you wanted to have your create a character be Nightmare, all you had to do was play as a Berserker for a bit in Chronicles of the Sword mode, and then your character could fight like Nightmare. And that stuff was so much better pulled off in Soul Calibur 3, whereas number 5, it's just like, okay, you create a character, then you just copy the other characters, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Just a major disappointment. I finished everything I needed to finish in a day, Like, there's nothing to collect. There's titles you can collect for online mode, and, I am one of those gamers who does not play online on the same game every damn day. I will play Soul Calibur with my friends, but I'm not going to be online every damn day, so it doesn't matter to me. Why should I pay $60 for a game that's inferior to the other Soul Calibur games? Why couldn't they bring their A game and give us tons of concept art, special endings for the arcade mode, more new characters, bring back the old characters? Hell, they could have brought back guest characters in their own special way, Like, you don't have to bring back Link. Obviously, Link is connected to Nintendo, and you can't do that. But bring back a character who fights exactly like Link. Have him have a sword and shield, only instead of using a bow and arrow, he uses, like, a laser beam or something. I don't know. You could easily adapt the special guest characters for these new fighters that you create, and no one would blink an eye. People would be like, oh man, I wish Darth Vader was in this game, but he's not. I loved using the force chokes and stuff. If only there was a psychic character who was exactly like Darth Vader and was a samurai, You could do that. Why can't you bring back old fighting styles? Why is this such a leap backwards? It makes no sense to me. Again, the core gameplay is okay. It's still Soul Calibur at heart. But I own the other Soul Caliburs. But anyway, guys, this is a very shit version of Soul Calibur. Do not support this game. Don't buy Soul Calibur 5. You have to teach Namco that, we need some extra features. We need some replayability. We need something that makes Soul Calibur better than the previous Soul Calibur games. This was such a cash cow sellout kind of game, They didn't put any effort into this. How hard would it have been to code in a survival mode? I mean, honestly. So yeah, play Soul Calibur 2, play Soul Calibur 3, play Soul Calibur 4. Number 5, not worth your time, not worth your money. It's not as good as 4. So, 4 is on the 360 and PlayStation 3. There's no reason to pick up 5. Anyway, folks, I am the Great Clement. Toodles.